I'm gonna pause this recording. Okay, we're good to go. Technology set. Just gonna believe all the good thoughts that it's just gonna work throughout the whole class and that it's not too loud. We're going to start class today in, sorry, I have my notes. We're gonna start class today in a child's pose just to settle in. So knees wide, toes to touch, arms lengthen forward towards the top of the mat. Just to settle in, connect to the breath. Deep inhales and exhales through the nose, finding your Ujjayi breath. Creating that constriction in the back of the throat, like you're fogging up a mirror with sealed lips. Has an oceanic sound and texture to it. Our theme of class today is as above, so below, so within, and so without. It speaks to how our inner world is directly connected to our outer worlds. The state of our inner environment is reflected outside of ourselves. What we feel inside is what is expressed, manifested, attracted to us in our external life. If we tune into the spiritual tools the universe gives us, we can repair our wounded selves and bring light into the world. As eternal spiritual beings on a journey, we are here on earth to grow and evolve through our human experiences. The secret is to bring the divine to our world as above, so below, reminds us of the power we hold. When everything we do is done with intention, we make better choices and we change how we see the world. And then on your next breath, start to rise up onto the palms. Then you can bring your hips out to one side, swing the legs around. We're gonna start in a reclined butterfly. So we're gonna take two of our blocks, or you can even just stack one block tall, but sometimes that's unstable. And we're going to recline our bolster onto the blocks. And then we'll bring our hips close in front of that bolster, soles of the feet together, legs come wide. It doesn't really matter so much if your feet are close into your hips or if they're further out, more so what's comfortable in your body today. Then come to a tall spine. You can also even grab onto any extra blocks that you might have and you can support underneath the knees with the blocks. I believe in having the joints supported. So tall spine to start. And then as you're ready, start to recline back onto your bolster. When you reach your back, allow the arms to lay alongside the body, palms facing the ceiling. This allows for the chest to feel some expansion and the shoulders to drape back around the bolster. Just settle in. Just a few, you may have practiced Yin before, but I always like to give a little safety spiel before Yin because it is such a beautiful practice when practiced with intention. We want to aim for about 10% of sensation. You just want to start the stretch where you just start feeling some lengthening in the connective tissue, in the tendons. In vinyasa, we go for those full intense stretches where we stretch the entire belly of the muscle. But with Yin, we take a more gentle approach where we just stay where we are just starting to feel something, and stay right in that sweet spot. If it's whatever pose we're in is starting to feel a little more intense, just back down a little bit, maybe add a prop or two. Or if it's not feeling enough, maybe you're just at 5% and you want to get to that 10%, you can also take away props to get in deeper. So listen to your body. It's a practice of quiet observation. And when we have our joints fully supported, the muscles can fully release. We'll hold poses for 3 to 5 minutes. Slowly start to bring weight into the palms. Press it gently into the floor. Press the spine up off the bolster, moving slowly. Soles of the feet will come back to the mat. You can just take a moment to windshield wiper the legs from side to side. And then when you're ready, we're gonna come to bring our legs out in front of us. You can take one of your blocks and bring it underneath your hips if you'd like to elevate your hips. Up to you. And if This would be a great place to use your little baby bolster to place underneath your knees for support. And then we're gonna bring the bolster on top of our legs and another block underneath the bolster just to give it a little bit of an angle. And I love using all the props. So if this is always like, this is way too many props, Missy, just leave it alone. But I like all the props. So I like to also put a block on top to put my forehead. So again, we'll come to a tall spine. And then you can begin to fold forward, rounding over your prop. And you can place your head down onto your block or your bolster, up to you. Slowly start to walk your hands back in, coming back to that tall spine. Moving with great self-care, we're slowly gonna unpack ourselves from our forts we've created. And then draw the knees in, and we're gonna come to a tabletop. Those shoulders are gonna stack over the wrists, hips over the knees. And maybe just take any natural movements that come to you here in this tabletop. Maybe swaying the hips from side to side. Maybe taking big barrel rolls with the torso. Moving in long, deep circles. Maybe going the other direction. And then come to neutral in your tabletop. And then take a deep inhale. And exhale, send the right leg back behind you. Just finding some length. You can roll the foot around and roll out the ankle. Maybe rolling it the other direction. And then we're gonna draw the knee in towards the nose, rounding over that leg. And then we're simply just gonna drop the knee at our right wrist and slide the left leg back. We're gonna come into a sleeping swan. So I like to bring the bolster underneath my leg, my extended leg, so that my hip is nice and propped. And then I'll bring in my blocks. You can use 2, 3, however many you would like here. Just make sure you're fully supported. And then lifting up for just one breath. And then exhale, rounding over, finding some rest here on your supports. This should be a little less intense than our regular pigeon pose. If it feels a little bit too much, let me know. We can readjust. And we start to bring our palms back into the floor. Gently lift up the chest. Retuck your back toes. Lift the back leg slightly. Just bring the leg up and around. Move your bolster out to the side. And press the blocks out just for a moment. Stacking the hips right over the knees. We're gonna walk the hands forward. We're gonna keep the hips raised and stacked over the knees and simply melting the heart down towards the mat. If this is intense on your shoulders, you can also bring the bolster underneath your chest and use it as a prop to bring the floor closer to you. Start to bring the palms back underneath the chest, back to your neutral tabletop. Maybe sway out the hips if that feels good. And then come back to your neutral tabletop. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Send the left leg out long. You can roll the ankle. Just give the foot a little massage. And then on your next exhale, round to the back and bring the knee in towards the nose. And then draw the knee to the left wrist. Extend the right leg out long. Go ahead and bring your bolster out to place underneath your right leg. Sometimes it takes a minute to get things right where you want them. And bring your blocks to support your head. And then melt down into your supports. Find sleeping swan. Allow the muscles to relax and lengthen. Sometimes with yin, we don't realize the full benefit we're bringing into the body till later. With vinyasa, we feel an immediate stretch. But sometimes we wake up the next day, we don't have quite that same length. With yin, we're slowly lengthening the muscles. This will give us a more long-term sensation of lengthening. Start to bring your palms back into the mat. Press up slowly and gently. Retuck your back toes. And then send your props out to the sides. Stacking the shoulders over the wrist for tabletop once again. And this time we're just gonna simply sit the hips back into a restorative or regular lengthening child's pose. Reconnect with your Ujjayi breath. Deep inhales and exhales through the nose with a slight constriction. We're gonna move into our flow. Inhale, come back up to tabletop. Tuck the toes and lift the knees about 2 inches up and off the mat. Just engaging the core, firing up for just a moment. And exhale, send the hips high for your first downward facing dog. Feel free to paddle it out here, bending one knee, then the other, maybe taking deep bends with both knees. Maybe coming up high onto the toes, dropping the heels from side to side. And then on your next inhale, allow the right leg to lift. Exhale, draw the knee in towards the chest and step the foot between the hands for low lunge. Start to walk the hands over to the left side. And we're gonna find that downward dog motion with the torso. So our hands are reaching towards the long edge of the mat, and we're simply just gonna melt the heart down towards the floor. This is kind of a combination of down dog and warrior two. We call it a warrior dog. And walk your hands back to frame the right foot at the top of the mat. Ground down through the feet. Inhale, rise to warrior two. Sink low into that front knee. Maybe pull that knee over to the right side a little bit, just finding a little more openness through the hips. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Right arm comes up overhead, staying low in that front knee. Exhale, back to warrior two. Straighten through the front knee. Reach forward with the fingertips. Exhale, triangle pose. Find broadness through the collarbones. Maybe your top arm reaches sort of back behind you a little bit, expanding through the chest. Keep a micro bend in that front leg. Inhale, rise, keeping the leg straight. Right arm comes up and over for sky archer pose. Feeling the long line of energy from the foot all the way through the hands. And exhale, back to warrior two. Reach forward with the fingertips. Exhale, extended side angle. Arm can come up overhead or it can reach up alongside the ear. Equal pressure in the right arm and the left knee, or the right knee. And we're just gonna play with expanding through the chest and hip a little bit more. So if you'd like to grab onto your strap here, I didn't grab me a strap, but for demonstration purposes, we can hold onto the strap in our top arm, an extended side angle. And then we can bring that arm back and around for a half bind. And then reaching the bottom arm down below, grabbing the opposite end of that strap and using it to have a bind here, and then rolling the left shoulder up. So you have the arm reaching overhead this way. You want to bring it back the other direction. Yeah. And then this arm will reach underneath and then grab the strap. And then you can roll the left shoulder back, sort of opening up through the chest. How does that feel? It's better? Okay. And then release your strap. Let it fall out to the side. Come back to your warrior two. And inhale, step to the top of the mount. Extended mountain. Draw the shoulders back and away from the ears. Exhale, open up through the chest. Cactus out the arms. Take a little mini back bend. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Hands come to the shins or thighs. Roll the shoulders back and together like you're holding a coin between the shoulder blades. Draw the navel towards the spine. And exhale, lower down, forward fold. Plant the hands, step it back, high plank. Engage through the core, long line of energy from the head to the heels. Shift your weight forward, stack the shoulders over the wrists, and slowly lower all the way down to the belly. Legs are gonna zip together. Tops of the feet will press firmly down into the mat, so much so that maybe the knees lift just slightly. Little to no weight in the hands. Inhale, baby cobra. Lift the chest. Exhale, lower. We'll take that 3 rounds. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, lower. Inhale, back to baby cobra. Exhale, lower. Retuck your toes and send the hips back for downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, draw the knee in towards the nose, hovering for a moment and then stepping between the hands. Grounding down through the feet, we're just slowly gonna walk the hands over to the right side, finding our warrior dog on this side. So hands are gonna reach towards that long edge of the mat, lengthening the torso like we're in downward facing dog with warrior 2 legs. Slowly begin to walk back towards the top of the mat, frame the front foot, and inhale, rise, warrior 2 to the top of the mat. Sink down into that front knee. Beautiful. Inhale, reverse warrior. Top arm reaches up towards the sky. You can take a half bind with the bottom arm or reach down for your back thigh. Exhale, back to warrior 2. Straighten the front knee. Reach forward with the fingertips. Exhale, triangle pose. Keep a micro bend in your front knee. We want to protect the kneecap. Maybe top arm reaches back behind you just a little bit, broadening through the collarbones. Core is engaged. Inhale, rise back to warrior 2. Front leg is straightened. Reach back for sky archer. A long line of energy from the foot through the hand. Exhale, back to warrior 2. Reach forward at the fingertips. Exhale, extended side angle. You can reach for that strap once again, placing it into the top arm. Arm will reach down towards your hips and come around the back. And then bottom arm will reach for the opposite end of that strap underneath the leg. And then from here, you can roll the right shoulder open. Maybe one day your hands meet in the middle. And then release your hand, release your grip. Throw the strap out to the side, come back to that warrior 2. And inhale, step forward, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. This time we're gonna take gorilla pose. So hands are gonna come all the way underneath the feet so that our toes are touching the back of the wrists. If this is uncomfortable for you, you can also take peace fingers and wrap them around the big toes. Either one. Have a generous amount of bend in the knees. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Begin to round the elbows like you're hugging a big beach ball between them. Allow them to pull the torso in closer to the thighs. Elbows are reaching towards the opposite sides of the room. And you can have more bend into your knees here. And allow the crown of the head to reach towards the mat. And then release the hands. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back. And from here, we're gonna move into our high to low push-up. So dropping the chest about halfway, unflipping the feet. Tops of the feet and the hands are the only thing touching the mat. Let the chest rise for upward facing dog. And then send the hips back for downward facing dog. Inhale, gaze to the top of the mat. Exhale, step, hop or float, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise for chair pose. Sink down into your yogi chair. I like to have my feet about hip width apart with my knees stacked over. But if you prefer to have your feet and knees squeezing together, that is okay too. Gaze comes about 2 feet in front of your mat. Pull the core in towards the spine. And then interlace the hands, except for the pointer fingers. So we're taking a steeple grip with the hands. Ground down into the left foot. Right foot will simply step back into a warrior one. So foot is at about a 45-degree angle. Sink down into your front knee. Shoulders are rolled back. And we're gonna simply start to bring our weight forward, coming up onto the right toes. And then from here, we're simply gonna imagine our whole body as one long plank of wood. And we're gonna play with coming up onto those toes, shifting our weight into the left foot and toppling forward. Now, it's not about becoming perfectly pendicular with the earth, but playing with teetering the torso and the leg at the same rate. And maybe you just hold one position for one breath. Deep inhale and exhale. Gently step back into your warrior one. Make sure your feet are right where they need to be in that 45-degree angle with the back foot. Straighten the front knee and exhale, slowly begin to fold over your left leg. And then when you reach the bottom, you can ungrasp your fingers and touch down onto the mat. You can tuck the chin and bring it closer towards the knee. Reclasp your hands, come back to that steeple grip and rise slowly, just as we came in, back to that warrior one. And then step the foot together, extended mountain. Exhale, sink down for chair pose. Re-engage through both feet. Start to send the weight into your left leg or into your right leg. And simply step the left leg back into your warrior one. Foot is at a 45-degree angle. Both hips are pointed forward. Have a bend in that front leg. And begin to reach forward with the spine, coming up high onto your back toe. And then maybe you start to play with teetering forward into toppling tree. Playing with the movement or coming to one standard move or one standard position. Holding for a breath. And exhale, stepping back into your warrior one. Reconnecting. And exhale, begin to fold forward into that pyramid pose. Hands release down to the mat. Maybe tuck the chin, allow it to fall closer towards the knee. Staying connected into the breath. And reclasp the hands. Inhale, rise slowly back to that warrior one. And exhale, step the foot forward, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back. Move through your half series of choice. Chaturanga Dandasana, baby cobra, maybe taking a child's pose. Totally up to you. We're gonna flow through that one more time, maybe with one breath per movement. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, low lunge. Inhale, rise, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, back to warrior two. Straighten the front leg. Reach forward with the fingertips. Exhale, triangle pose. Inhale, reverse or sky archer pose. Exhale, back to warrior two. Rebend that knee. Reach forward with the fingertips. Exhale, extended side angle. So this way, you got it. It's a lot. And if you want to reach for your strap here and come back to that bind, or maybe you want to try just touching fingertips, totally up to you. Spend a minute rolling open that shoulder. And release the hands. Come back to warrior two. And then step forward, extended mountain. Exhale, sink down into your yogi chair. Exhale, step the right foot back. Regrasp your hands and exhale, teeter forward into a toppling tree. Set the foot back down. Warrior one. Straighten the front leg. Exhale for pyramid pose. Land the hands softly down beside the foot. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Inhale, reclasp your hands. The breath helps you rise. Exhale, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back. Move through your half series. We'll meet in a downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, step between the hands, low lunge. Inhale, rise, warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, back to warrior two. Straighten the front knee. Reach forward with the fingertips. Exhale, triangle pose. Inhale, reverse or sky archer pose, straight legs. Exhale, rebend into that front leg, warrior two. Reach forward with the fingertips. Exhale, extended side angle. Maybe you take that bind here on this side, reaching the arm back and around. Drawing that top shoulder open. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, release the arms. Rise back to your warrior two. Inhale, step forward, extended mountain. Exhale, sink down into chair. And step the left leg back. Reconnect the hands into your steeple grip. And then lean forward with the body. Come up onto those toes and maybe topple over for your toppling tree. Inhale. And exhale, land that foot back into your warrior two or warrior one. Straighten the front leg. Exhale for pyramid pose. Hands release down to the mat. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Inhale, reconnect with your hands, rise back up. Exhale, step forward, extended mountain. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands, step it back, move through your half series. Take a deep inhale and exhale, let it go. And then shift your weight forward into a high plank. Slowly lower all the way down to your belly. Arms are going to come alongside the body. Feet are about hip width apart. And chin comes to the mat. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Next, inhale, lift the arms, legs, chest, everything up and off the mat, and you're hovering on the soft part of the belly, engaging through the whole posterior chain. And exhale, lower back down, maybe bringing a cheek to the mat. And bring your chin back to the mat. Option for a second round of locust pose, or you can bend the knees and reach back for the ankles for bow pose. Take a deep inhale and let everything rise up and off the mat. If you're reaching for bow, kick back into the hands, bringing the feet close together. Try not to let the feet come out to the sides. And exhale, release. Come back down to the mat. Bringing your opposite cheek to the mat this time. Bend the knees and windshield wiper the feet from side to side. And then let the legs come back down. We'll press into the hands, coming up, and we're gonna swing the legs around. And then we're gonna roll back down onto the mat, onto our back. Feet are gonna come close behind the hips, arms alongside the body. And you can either make this a yin pose or a vinyasa pose. It is our transition, so take whatever you want. If you want a bridge, you can go ahead and lift up through the hips. But if you want it to be a supported bridge, you can bring a block or a bolster underneath your hips and allow it to support your hips in an upright position. And if you're taking regular bridge, you can allow it to fall back down to the mat. And if you're in supported bridge, also allow your hips to come back down to the mat and sway the legs from side to side. And then we're gonna bring ourselves back up to a seat. And we're gonna come back to that butterfly position with the legs to start that we came into practice with. And then we're gonna take the right leg and we're gonna swing it back and around towards our right hip. Left foot is gonna come on top of the right thigh. And our bolster is going to come alongside our left leg. So it's kind of teed out with our left thigh. Again, you can place the block on top of it to support your head. Now we're going to come to a tall spine to begin, and then walk it over, coming into a twist, and then melt over onto your prop. Bringing the head onto the block or the bolster, whichever you prefer. Slowly winding down into our in practice once again. The beginning of all change happens with awareness of our feelings and attitude. Maybe we take an honest look at what is working well in life. Where could there be improvement? Where is life in balance? What is out of balance? What beliefs are you clinging to that are hindering your truest self? If yoga is a dance of life, how can you relate those balances and imbalances and harmonies to your practice? What feelings come up as you flow? What is working? What isn't? What is in balance? What isn't? Is there something you're clinging to in your practice? Can you either let it all go or use these thoughts as you move and rest? As above, so below, so within and so without. Slowly and gently, moving with great stillness, press yourself back up. Begin to unwind the spine and bring your leg back and around. And just bringing both palms or both soles of the feet to the floor and just windshield wipering out the legs for a moment. And then coming back to that butterfly position. We'll bring our props over to the opposite side. And then left leg will come back and around. Right foot will come on top of the left thigh. And then come to a tall spine to prepare. And then slowly turn towards the bolster. Just doing a gentle twist. And then bowing forward onto your props. Finding rest here. Moving slowly and softly, start to press the chest up off of your bolster. Moving with great self-care. Begin to bring the soles of the feet back to the floor and just windshield wipering it out. And then we're gonna come to a tabletop. Make sure your bolster and your blocks are at the top of your mat. This is just so they're easily accessible for our next posture. And if you either have a blanket or we're gonna do something that's a little hard on the knees. So if you wanna have your blanket or come alongside the length of your mat so that you have the padding of your mat on both sides to support your knees, that's where we're gonna go. Grab onto your bolster and your blocks. And we're gonna come to a tabletop and then allow the legs to sort of walk out long. And we're gonna come into a supported frog pose. So once your knees are out wider than your tabletop, you can then scoot your bolster underneath your hips to support your hips here. And then legs are gonna come out wide. Feet will have the ball edge, big toe side of your foot will come out to the mat. So feet are wide, knees are wide. And then you can bring in your block and begin to melt the chest down towards the floor, head on your block for support. You can also have the feet pointed towards each other behind your hips, if that's more comfortable on your feet. This is an intense pose in our hips and our knees. This thought that we carry and store a lot of emotions through our hips. So maybe notice what internal conversations you are having with yourself. What you think in these conversations is what is manifested in your world. It's like an energetic mirror. Sometimes coming to terms with the fact that our thoughts create our reality isn't very easy to sit with. But this is our true soul work. It's being honest with ourselves. When we take responsibility with our mind, we can connect to our divine, our truest energies, and be more authentic towards each other. Gently start to press back into the palms, letting the chest rise. And then pressing the hips up, walking the knees in, allowing the bolster to come out underneath the hips. And then we're gonna bring our bolster out lengthwise in front of us. And then we're gonna let the legs come back. And we're gonna place the edge of the bolster right at the base of the ribs. So at the bottom of the ribs, just above the belly button. Arms are gonna frame the bolster for Sphinx pose. Again, you can stay uplifted into your chest, or you can begin to melt the forehead down onto a block or onto the bolster, feeling length through the back of the neck. Again, begin to feel weight come into the palms. And just scoot the bolster out from underneath you, coming back down onto the belly. And we're simply moving very slowly with as little movement as possible, just simply rolling back onto the back. And then we're gonna come to take up space in our final pose, Shavasana. Allowing the feet to relax completely. The toes and the heels, allowing the feet to roll out to the sides. Legs, knees, release. Hips and shoulders melt into the mat. Breath is easy. Arms relaxed. Palms of the hands and all fingers release completely. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. And thoughts float by like clouds in the sky, coming and going. By understanding and harnessing the wisdom of as above, so below, as within, so without, we can empower ourselves with honest self-examination and reflection. When we view life as a soul school, we can approach the process of change and growth as an opportunity to play with these universal principles. After all, when we play, we raise our vibration and thus our lives. And by lifting ourselves up, we are contributing in that way to the larger whole. If you are ready to start moving from your Shavasana, you don't have to, there is no rush. But maybe if you're ready, you start to bring in deeper breaths, feeling the belly expand, rising and falling. And be finding movement through the hands and the feet. And when you're ready, make yourself to one side, keeping that internal stillness and quietude. And if you're ready to move into the rest of your day, keeping the eyes soft or with a soft gaze or closed, press yourself up to a seat gently and slowly. Then hands can stay on the lap, or if it feels calling to you, you can bring them to heart center. Loka Samasa Sukhino Bhavantu. This means may all beings be happy and free, and may our own thoughts, words, and actions contribute in some way to that happiness and freedom for all. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. Thank you for honoring your practice today. Thank you for being here. I'm so happy to be here for you. Have a wonderful day. You're welcome. Please take your time. If you have any feedback for me, Jody, go ahead and leave so on the chat. I'd love to hear how class was for you. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. Stop this recording.